My voice is all weird today. I don't know why. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Flaring your nostrils helps. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. You can actually do this one with little or no mouth involved. So try it with your mouth closed or mostly closed. I don't mean clenched. It can be closed and relaxed, but just closed so the sound has greater opportunity to go up here and not stay stuck in the mouth. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Let's do lip buzz, tongue trill, raspberry. Now we'll alternate bup 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 and gang gang gang. Bup 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 bup. Gang 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 gang. The whole point of this one is to not push chest voice up too high, but rather to let our voice flip into mix or head voice as soon as possible. Bup 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 bup. Gang 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 gang. Gang, 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 gang. Bup, 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 bup. Gang, 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 gang. Bup, 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 bup. Gang, 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 gang. Now let's do a 5 note scale on NG with the mouth closed or mostly closed. So sometimes breaks in our voice or gear changes or register changes, however you want to refer to it. Most of us have a big one where we officially change from chest voice to head voice. Most of us have a big break in the middle somewhere. And it's sort of in the same vicinity for baritones and basses, the same vicinity for tenors, the same vicinity for altos and sopranos and so forth. Not exactly the same note, but around the same point. There's another concept that there's a break or a gear shift every 4 or 5 notes, which I think is a more realistic description of how our voice works, that we need to be changing gears more often. And accompanying that is the image of an hourglass. So if we think of the break point, whatever the break point is, if we think of that as the narrow point of an hourglass, even temporarily. So the depiction could be chest voice, and then the big break, and then head voice. But that hourglass image could describe any of the breaks that we have every 5 notes. And the concept that goes along with that is that we try to think of narrowing our sound when we're going through the break, rather than trying to think of the break as making our sound bigger. If we mentally imagine it going through a narrow passage that's going to get to something bigger on the other side. Now, I know all of this is sort of conceptual. A lot of learning about the voice and studying voice is imagery. Voice teachers use lots and lots of imagery because we can't see what's going on in here unless you go to the doctor and get scoped. You can't see these muscles. You can't see what they're doing, and a lot of the concept is very sort of esoteric. So I want to try something. I want to try this 5-note scale again. And when you feel your voice wanting to change gears, change from chest to mix to head or whatever, imagine that the change point is the narrow point of an hourglass. Just see what that does for you. So we'll go back down to here. And I think it's important to think of this sound as NG, not just a hum. It's not hum, it's you understand the difference? That the NG sends it to a different place in our head. Here we go. So anytime you feel your voice struggling to change gears or change registers, imagine it narrower as in an hourglass. So option B is, instead of thinking of every five notes as this, just think of everything as narrower than you're used to thinking. Every five notes is just narrow. Anybody relating to this? Anybody finding this concept helpful or applicable, or is it too kind of out there right now?
It's hard for me because you always start above my break.
Okay, let's try going lower then. For see if this helps. Let's start down here. Notice anything different? So, a lot of us were taught growing up, especially in choir, to sing with a big open throat, to sing a big open sound, which there's a time for that, but I actually think there's times when the concept of a big open throat is, it kind of sends us in the wrong direction. Whereas thinking narrow, and there's a difference between narrow and constricted. I'm not talking about constricted. I'm just talking about an imagery of narrow. I relate it to the concept of putting your finger over the hose to make it squirt further. So when the aperture, the opening of the hose is smaller, the pressure is increased and the water goes further. When the throat is narrower within reason, I think the intensity of the sound increases because it's got less room to resonate in, and that can help us through breaks. There's kind of a fine line between that and singing with a closed throat. Marcia's saying the hourglass concept is making a difference. Okay, let's do a couple falsetto things. Again, my voice is functioning very strangely.
Excuse me. Um,
Yeah,
uh, Another thing that you've been doing and emphasizing, I don't know if you were emphasizing it purposely, is that you don't have to open your mouth as wide. Does that help one to think about the narrow?
I think of the mouth as a slightly different concept. So here's the thing. All of this is related. If you picture the voice like a pile of string, a big ball of string, and there's different strings sticking out from each side of it, and if you pull the one on this side, the one over here moves.
Uh,
And you come pull this one over here, and the one, like, everything we're doing is related to everything else. So if we sing with our mouth less open, it's affecting other aspects of singing. Like, nothing in the singing mechanism functions completely independently. Every string is attached to another string. So the concept of singing with less mouth is designed to encourage more resonance above the mouth. So there's all this beautiful space up here that they call the nasopharynx and the mask and so forth. And some people, they kind of get stuck in mouth only resonance, and they don't even know about this, or they sort of neglect this. So having the mouth be small or mostly closed gives the sound has to go somewhere. So when we do that, the sound is more likely to pop up into our head. And the trick is, Joy, to get them both involved. Obviously, we don't want the mouth not involved. We just want both. So it's kind of a learning process of tricking the sound to go up into the head, and then gradually opening the mouth in a more normal way without losing all of that beautiful sound up here. But it takes a minute. Sometimes we sing with the mouth closed, the sound goes up, then we open the mouth again and the sound drops back down again. And what we really want is both.
Yeah, I have read about, famous cantors who sing loudly and beautifully and with resonancy with hardly opening their mouths.
And that's proof that there's all this beautiful resonant space. And I always refer to, who pick your favorite opera singer. The way they get that big beautiful sound is not by pushing, it's not by muscling, it's by resonance.
Mm.
So what they have that we don't have sometimes is they have all the resonators resonating. So they have this, they have this, they have this, they have this, all of it. And that's why they can fill a room with sound without even hardly trying. It's just the resonance.
Mhm.
And
That's it.
I think some of you are experiencing that at various moments during our exercises. You're experiencing increased resonance. Anybody validate that? Anybody feel like their voice is changing over time because of these exercises? Mine is. And it's not by pushing. It's not by forcing the sound. It's by giving the sound more places to resonate. Let's try some vocal fry, low notes, slide into head voice activity. Here we go. I'll just pick a note that works for you. Man, my voice is acting like I'm sick, but I don't feel sick, so I don't know what's going on. Let's sing. Let's start with Winter is Calling. And mm-mm-mm. So we've been working in Arlington Heights Choir on keeping steady tempo on this one. Sometimes we want to kind of slow down, especially in the measures that are tricky. And we've been working on keeping steady even on those measures. Let me see where I am. I'll give you the intro just so you know where you are. Winter is calling, blue snow is falling, fa la 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 la, fa la la la. Sleigh bells are ringing, children are singing, fa la 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 la, fa la la la. Love is the reason, this is the season, we face the weather singing together. La 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 la. If you are for us, come join the chorus. We welcome proudly all who sing loudly. La 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 la. Winter is coming, bells are plumbing. Fa la 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 la, fa la la la. Our hands are freezing, Grandpa is sneezing. Fa la 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 la, fa la la la. Put on a sweater till things get better. Cups of hot cider make the night brighter. La 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 la. Chestnuts for roasting, eggnog for
you're toasting. Just keep on pouring, soon we'll be snoring. Fa la 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 la, fa la la fa la 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 la, fa la 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 la, fa la la fa la
Good. So that's the first time we've run it start to finish in these Friday rehearsals. Anybody want their part isolated or slowed down or just do a section of it? You feel like you're getting it with all the parts together? You feel like you're comfortable? I'm getting head nods and cup raises. I think that means move on. Going once, going twice? Okay, let's jump to Alepun. Here comes Alepun. Make sure everything's on. It's supposed to be. Ready, sing.
Flurries of snowflakes are falling, Yalepun. Flurries of snowflakes are falling, Yalepun. Winds from the shadows are calling, Yalepun, Alepun, Yale, Alepun, Alepun, Yale, Alepun, Alepun, Katapun. Alepun, Yale, Alepun, Alepun, Yale, Alepun, Alepun, Katapun. Echoing footsteps are click, 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 click. Echoing footsteps are click, 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 click. Journey to Bethlehem, quickening, quickening, quickening. Yalepun, Alepun, Yale, Alepun, Alepun, Yale, Alepun, Alepun, Katapun. Hurry now, no hesitating, Yalepun. Hurry now, no hesitating, Yalepun. Empty the cradle is waiting, Yalepun, Alepun, Yale, Alepun, Alepun, Yale, Alepun, Alepun, Katapun. Alepun, Yale, Alepun, Alepun, Yale, Alepun, Alepun, Katapun. Alepun, Yale, Alepun, Alepun, Yale, Alepun, Alepun, Katapun. Alepun.
So, couple things to make this piece more interesting, since it's somewhat repetitive, is the dynamics. And it's sometimes hard to remember them or to add them when we're thinking about notes and rhythms. Like once we get the notes and rhythms learned, it's much easier to just sing the whole song, the same dynamic, mezzo forte or mezzo piano, and not have to think about one more thing. But the dynamics make it much more interesting and musical and varied. So I'm going to just ask you to go through with me. Some of you have done this already, and you know what you're doing. Some of you just need to be reminded. So we start mezzo forte. Everybody's mezzo forte is different. If you think of the volume scale as 1 to 10, mezzo forte might be a 7, right? But your 7 is different than my 7 is different than another person's 7. So you have to figure out what mezzo forte is for you. And that's where we're going to start. The next change occurs at middle of 5. Is that right? Yeah. Middle of 5, measure 16. it crescendos to forte, but the note that it crescendos to is only an eighth note long. So we were having some issues in Arlington Heights of people wanting to hold that upper note too long. At 16, people were wanting to go poon, but it's short. It's poon off. 1, 2, 3, 4 off. Poon off. So the trick is to crescendo to a forte note that only lasts for an eighth note. It's a little bit of a puzzle. Then the very next measure, 17.
So is it a slide?
No, not a slide, a crescendo. In other words, we don't go poon, we just go poon, bing, bing, but with a volume change. The very next measure, 17, is mezzo forte. So the difference between mezzo forte and forte is only one dynamic level. So that might be from a 7 to an 8, or from an 8 to a 9, however you want to think about it in your own mind. That's really only one dynamic level, but it's supposed to sound like a crescendo. And then 17 is supposed to sound like it comes back down one level. So then top of 6, measure 20, it decrescendos one dynamic level to mezzo piano. Ooh. That feels like, it needs to feel like it's coming down in volume. Then at 23, it's mezzo forte for the sopranos and altos, and mezzo forte for the tenors and basses, doing that little echo thing. Then the next indication is top of 8, measure 35. There's a decrescendo. Now, here's the other thing I'll tell you. The way it's written, the decrescendo sort of happens automatically because the tenors and sopranos are going down. Da, da. It's written to, it has a sort of a built-in decrescendo, but if we do it on purpose, it'll be better. Now, look at measure 40, bottom of 8, it's forte. So that's really the first forte entrance that we've had. So that measure 40, according to the composer, is supposed to feel different than what has come before. So we need to make it feel different volume-wise. Then here's something cool. Middle of 9, it's mezzo piano. So that's coming down quite a bit from forte. Forte, mezzo piano. That's 3 dynamic levels down. So middle of 9, measure 46, should feel quite different dynamically. It should feel like a bit of a surprise. Then in 47, the last 2 notes of 47 are marked piano. I think that might be the softest indication we've had so far. The trick with piano is to not sing slower. Whenever we sing softer, we naturally want to sing slower, but we're not slowing. The piece has no tempo changes whatsoever. It's steady tempo throughout. So we have to get down to piano without slowing down even a tiny bit. Then middle of 10, measure 51, there's a crescendo, that same kind of thing, poon, or so if it's poon. So we have to crescendo and move up a note and only sing that second note for an eighth note. And it doesn't go to forte, it goes to mezzo forte. Now I'm at top of 11. Measure 55 has a crescendo, which is tricky because the notes are going down for tenors and sopranos in particular. The notes are going down, but the indication is to crescendo. And then 56 is forte. And then look at the bottom line of that page. 5960 has a crescendo to fortissimo. So we have to have a little bit left in the tank to hit the fortissimo. So I want us to do it again and see if we can hit all those dynamic levels. Tricky, right? Tricky to remember them, tricky to notice them as they're going by, tricky to sort of regulate our own voice. One director said it to me, never sing louder than you can make a beautiful sound. So there's people that can sing really loud, much louder than me, and still have a beautiful sound. I can't do that. I don't have a huge, loud, big voice. So I have to decide what's reasonable for me. What's a forte that's reasonable for me. Here comes from the beginning. Mezzo forte at first. Here we go.
Flurries of snowflakes are falling, yale pum. Flurries of snowflakes are falling, yale pum. Winds from the shadows are calling, yale pum, ale pum, yale ale pum, ale pum, yale ale pum, ale pum kata.
Crescendo forte. Mezzo.
Ale pum, yale ale pum, ale pum, yale ale pum, ale pum kata.
Decrescendo. Now mezzo forte here.
Echoing footsteps are click, 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 click. Echoing footsteps are click, click, click. Journey to Bethlehem, quickening, quickening, quickening. Yale pum, ale pum, yale ale pum, ale pum, yale ale pum, ale pum kata.
Decrescendo. Now the next entrance is going to be forte. Here we go, and a one, ready, forte.
Hurry now, no hesitating, yale pum.
Still forte.
Hurry now, no hesitating, yale pum.
Now mezzo piano.
Empty the cradle is waiting.
Piano.
Yale pum, ale pum, yale ale pum, ale pum, yale ale pum, ale pum kata.
Crescendo, mezzo forte.
Ale pum, yale ale pum, ale pum, yale ale pum, ale pum kata pum.
Crescendo and forte.
Ale pum, yale ale pum, ale pum, yale ale pum, ale pum kata pum.
Crescendo, mezzo, fortissimo.
Ale pum.
So that's a whole nother level of thinking about the music. Once you get the notes and rhythms, to add dynamics to it is these are the finer points that make the music really exciting. Well done. Okay, any questions or thoughts on Ale Pun? Anything you want to go over again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Could you help the bassists get their entrance note at measure 40, please?
Yeah, so this is coming into the key change to G minor. Here's how my brain processes G minor. 1 3 5 5 3 1 or 1 3 5 3 1. I think of the 1 is there. 1. So coming from the other key is this. Check 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 check. Now key change. 1. I think of 1 as being here. Hurry now, no hesitating. Or do. If you prefer solfege to numbers, I think of it in numbers, but it could be do, re, mi, re, do.
Can you play the piano introduction, circle 6, so we can figure
Yes.
it out?
Yes. So it's this. And your note is here. So circle 6 is again. It leads into your note. The piano leads into it.
Yeah, that's it.
Does that help at all? Hey, let's try this, Dave. I'm gonna park the track there for a second, and we'll just test it. Here comes. Did you find it?
Yeah, that's good. Thanks.
Yeah, just one comment. We were told that in measure 41, a small crescendo in the middle of the word is useful. We go like hesitating rather than just spelling the word out. What do you think about that?
I think I agree with it. Anytime there's a longer note, it makes the longer note more interesting if we do a little something with it. So it could be a crescendo, it could be a decrescendo, but it's nice not to just sit on long notes and do nothing. It's nice to have them have some life to them. So in this song, a quarter note is a longer note. because almost the whole song is eighths or sixteenths. So you're exactly right. Hurry now, no hesitating. Just even a subtle crescendo on that will make that note exciting. Totally agree. I think there were other questions at that moment. Anybody else? Yes. Okay. Okay to move on. Let me go to my list here. Let's do Christmas Canticle for a minute. I know it's one of the easier ones, but we might have not rehearsed it for a minute. Here we go from the beginning.
It came upon the midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels landing near the earth to touch their hearts of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill to men, from heaven's all gracious King. The world in solemn stillness lay to hear the angels sing. Still through the cloven skies they come with peaceful wings unfurled, and still their heavenly music floats o'er all the weary world. Above its sad and lonely plains they bend on hovering wing, and ever o'er its babble sounds the blessed angels sing.
1, 2, 3.
For lo, the days are hastening on by prophecy of old, when with the ever-circling year shall come the time foretold, when peace shall over all the earth its ancient splendor spring, as the whole world sends back the song which now the angels sing. When peace shall over all the earth its ancient splendor spring, as the whole world sends back the song which now the angels sing. Gloria, Gloria, sing Gloria.
How we doing? Any questions, problem spots, anything you want isolated, slowed down? What was I going to say?
I just have a hard time making heavenly to get the en in there. I guess it's
What measure?
page 6 at 34. I want to skip the en.
Heavenly E. Still their heavenly E music floats o'er. Still their heavenly E music. Yeah,
I kind of skip it. I go heavenly.
that's okay too.
Yeah.
It's going by so quickly. That's not a huge deal. Any other tricky spots? Okie doke. Moving on. Christmas Waltz, which I think this one is difficult.
Oh, I have a question about dynamics. How much do you pay attention to dynamics versus blending?
Yes. They're both so important. I guess if the group wasn't blending well, I would focus on that first because that's probably more egregious. And that, like I always think of things in terms of a pyramid of finer points. So like the bottom level is just learning the notes and rhythms. And with some choirs, you use up all your rehearsal time just learning notes and rhythms, and then it's time to perform, and you never get to the next level of the pyramid, which is things like dynamics and vowel shape and blending. But yeah, if the blend is bad, then that probably needs to be addressed before the dynamics. Dynamics is kind of a finer point. There's no point in talking to the group about, now let's sing super quiet. Well, if one section is sticking out terribly, then we have to address that. But they're all important for sure. Here comes Christmas Waltz. One, two, three, one, two, three.
Frosted window panes, candles gleaming inside painted candy canes on the tree. Santa's on his way. He's filled his sleigh with things for you and for me. It's that time. It's that time when the world falls in love and we falls in love, sings to say, falls in love. Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams, may all your dreams come true. And this song of mine in 3/4 time wishes you and yours the same thing too. It's the time when love falls in love. Every song here seems to say, falls in love. Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true. May all your dreams come true. And this song of mine in 3/4 time wishes you and yours, wishes you and yours the same thing too. The same thing too.
How we doing? This one's full of tricky spots, I think.
Paul, is your tempo what's written in the is it 138 for a quarter note? 138 quarter notes in a whatever minute?
Per minute. Yeah, 138.
Okay. It seems easier to sing when you conduct it than it does when.
Well, it might just be because we're singing along with the track and we're hearing a click and everything, and it
Oh, that could be.
might
Yeah.
be that your conductor is taking a different tempo. By the way, if I haven't said this already, all of you are welcome to sing with me with the Arlington Heights Choir for all the concerts. I mean, certainly for this one coming up. Our concert is on Wednesday, December 3rd. But I
13th.
yeah, 13th, I mean, excuse me. I like the concept of singers joining other choirs just for the fun of it and to fortify the other choirs. Our choir in particular needs men, but I would welcome sopranos and altos too. We're just short on male singers. We have a tenor section that's mostly women, and we have one bass. So I think some people are coming from Oak Park, but if you're interested and you want to sing with my choir in Arlington Heights, you're welcome. And not just for Christmas. The same is true in the spring and whatever. And you don't need to let me know you're coming. Just come and we'll grab a chair for you. You can let me know if you want to, but you don't have to. Yes, question?
I can't seem to make this part stick on top of page 5 for the altos. Song you hear seems to say.
That line in particular?
Yes.
Yeah, so here's what we're coming from. It's that time. Sorry. It's time of year when the world falls in love. Every song you hear seems to say, let's go back. This is 25, bottom of 4. It's that time of year when the world falls in love. Every song you hear seems to say. Does that help at all to hear it slow like that?
I think it's the say that's throwing, I can't seem to nail that.
That's a little bit of a weird note. Song you hear seems to say.
Thank you.
Do you go on a little bit there, Paul? Because I'm having trouble with the from 34 to 39.
Yeah, that's a tricky alto part.
Also.
Song you hear seems to say, and then it's the same note here. Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true. And this song of mine. So let's go back up to top of 5 altos. Song you hear, ready, and song you hear seems to say, Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true. Does that help going slow like that, Val? I know it's hard when the song's going by and all the other parts are in.
Yeah, that really helps. Thanks.
Any other sections on this one that are tripping you up? I think it's a difficult chart. You mind if we do it again from the top? Here it comes. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3.
Frosted window panes, candles gleaming inside, painted candy canes on the tree. Santa's on his way. He's filled his sleigh with things for you and for me. It's that time. It's that time. When the world falls in love, every song here seems to say, falls in love. Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams, may all your dreams come true. And this song of mine in 3/4 time wishes you and yours the same thing too. It's the time, it's the time when falls in love. Every song here seems to say, falls in love. Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true. May all your dreams come true. And this song of mine in 3/4 time wishes you and yours, wishes you and yours, wishes you and yours the same thing too. The same thing too.
What you thinking? Thumbs up, glasses raised. Alan has a variety of beverages this morning. Sometimes a cup, sometimes a carton, sometimes a keg.
Stay hydrated.
Let's move on to Cradle Him. my my wife Jennifer manages our finances, and she's constantly interacting with the web page, the banking information, and I can't, everything any expenditures I make, she sees them instantly, and so I can't ever surprise her with a gift because she'll see the transaction. And if I order something from Amazon, we have a shared account, she'll see the order and the email notifications, and
Use cash.
she'll see the package before I do. And she has an Amazon wish list.
I would say that's what friends are for. Have
Oh.
it delivered to your neighbors.
Thanks for finishing my story for me. So her birthday is November 22nd, which is the anniversary of JFK's assassination. But I digress. So every year I have to enlist the help of friends, and I send them the links from her wish list and tell them, ask them, are they willing to order the stuff and have it delivered to their house? And are they willing for me not to pay them back until November 23rd? Because if I pay them back, she'll see the transaction. So it's literally the only way I can surprise her, unless I go to a store and use cash. But a lot of the items that she specifically, it's a very specific item on the wish list. Much harder to find it in a store than to order it from Amazon. And she's already spelled out, this is what I want. This is the color. This is the thing. So
It's really nice of you to go to all that trouble, Paul. It's lovely.
I mean, that's not the point of my story. The point is just, I have to try to hide the surprise. And I don't feel like I can ask the same friend every year for Christmas and her birthday. I feel, maybe some of them would do it year after year. I feel like I sort of have to spread the favor around. Otherwise, it's a bit of a nuisance because.
Are we going to start getting texts from you, Paul?
Well,
Are you looking for volunteers?
no. So this year is a new friend from church, and I got all the, it's like it was probably 6 items or 7 items or something. So, some of them were not so expensive. Nothing's expensive, but it's all stuff that she wants, specifically things that she wants. Some of it's clothing, some of it's stuff for the house. And I got all the packages delivered to the friend's house, and then she texted me, and I went and picked them up last night, and they're hidden in the trunk of my car under a blanket. And then at some point when Jennifer's out of the house, I have to sneak them into the basement and hide them somewhere down here. I mean, she's so in my life that it's hard to if I brought them down here in the control room, she'd still see them. I have to hide them in some part of the studio where she never goes. And then I'll have the girls come down and we'll wrap them. But she won't know that, that anything's coming because she hasn't seen any transactions. Maybe she'll think that I've forgotten. And I'll probably get her some flowers too. My story really had no point. I think you're supposed to have a point when you tell a story, but I sort of neglected that part of the procedure. I was just thinking about it.
It's just nice sharing, Paul.
Thanks. I have another story that came to mind recently. We can a memory from childhood that involves a dead cat. We'll do that one at the next break. It's quite fascinating. It's not what you expect. Here comes Cradle Hymn. 1, ready, sing. Now, are you able to get your note from that? Here it comes. 2, 3, 1, ready, go.
Holy angels guard thy bed, and lead childlike thee. Hush, 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 hush. Soft and easy is thy cradle course, and hard thy Savior lay, when his birthplace was a stable, and his softest bed was hush, 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 hush,
How we doing? Any spots? Well done. Love that song. So here's the dead cat story. My dad was, for a long time, I don't know if he always was, but for a long time he was a volunteer in charge of the building facility at our church. So he was a full-time surgeon. I don't know why he agreed to this, but he was like a deacon in the church, and his job was anything related to facilities. Like he had any free time for that. And I remember one Sunday morning he and I got there early, and the smell of death was wretched, filling the entire building. Like, what on earth is going on here? The smell is almost intolerable, like it was making us gag. And whoever else was there was waiting outside because you couldn't stand to be inside. So in typical fashion, my dad just plowed in there with me in tow, saying we need to find the source of this. So we're walking all over the building, trying to use our noses to see, is it getting stronger? Is it getting less? Oh, here it's getting stronger. Let's go in this room. Let's go in this room. And finally, we trace it down to the basement, and there's just flies as thick as the Egyptian plagues in the basement, like a horde of flies down there. So we know we're getting close. And we start pulling stuff out of the way, chairs and tables and boxes and Christmas decorations, and we come upon a dead cat that has crawled into the basement of the church and died. And it's in partial decay, and the flies are buzzing around it, and the smell, to this day, I don't ever remember a smell that was that intense. And we were walking towards it, and we had no gloves or anything. We were in our Sunday best. And my dad just picks this thing up with his hands and carries it outside to the trash. And then we just opened every window we could think of, and put all the stuff back. And then he went in the bathroom, washed his hands off, and then went about his business. That was just like he probably doesn't even remember. He did so many nasty jobs like that every day that it doesn't even probably stick out to him. But I remember I was probably 10 years old. He was training me not to be squeamish. He never said that in so many words, but that was the lesson. It's come in handy throughout my life. I'm not squeamish about vomit or poop or dead animals, or like, if something's nasty's got to be done, I'm probably your guy to do it. And I may or may not use gloves, because I just figure, whatever you get on your hands, you could wash it off. That story, again, really has no point and doesn't relate to anything we're doing here in this Zoom. Is that okay?
You're our guy, though.
Just random. It's random. I've thought of it many times. A few years ago, we had neighbors 2 doors down who did not have kids, and their dogs were like their kids. They were so in love with their dogs. And they had their dogs trained to be service dogs, and they would go to, therapy dogs. They would go to hospitals and children's places and so forth for the sick people and the children to kind of love on the dogs. and one of their dogs died, and they were so distraught that they couldn't deal with the dead body. So they called me and asked me, and I don't know why they called me, but they called me and said, would I be willing to come over and take the dog out, take the body out? So when I got there, it was like a 120-pound German Shepherd, and there was body fluid secretions coming out of both ends, and they were sort of incapacitated with grief, which I understand. It was like they had lost a child. And I was trying to give the situation some dignity for their sake. I was trying to be sensitive to what they were going through. Now, I didn't feel offended by the dead body, but I was trying to honor what the dog meant to them. So I wrapped it up. I found some blankets and tried to wrap it up like a shroud in some kind of dignified way, and tried to carry it out as gently as I could. And there was a vet service waiting in the driveway to take the body away. But I thought in that moment, my dad kind of trained me for those moments. The combination of him being a doctor and being I don't know, able to sort of do those yucky jobs that other people didn't want to do. Sometimes that comes around in my life, and he never really said, now this is how you do it. I just watched how he did it, and then sometimes it comes in handy. But I don't know why that got me all choked up. But a few years later, the husband of that couple, he was walking his dogs around or she was walking their dogs around the block, and when she came back, he had died of a massive heart attack, just in the 10 or 15 minutes that she was walking around the block. So she called Jennifer and I, and we went and sat with her until the coroner came and the people came to take the body away. So we were sitting downstairs consoling her, and he was upstairs, passed away in the bed. Boy, I did not intend to tell those stories. They just came to mind today. I don't know why. Okay, let's move on to Gabriel's message. Such a beautiful piece. There's someone in my choir in Arlington Heights who was in a church choir. I can't remember where she said, but the arranger of this piece was her music director here in Chicago.
Paul,
Sure.
have you noticed, or I'm sorry, anybody collected here today noticed that this is a most extraordinary grouping of pieces of music for Christmas? It's just an amazing collation of stuff for Christmas.
I agree, and the credit goes to Jonathan Miller and Linda Powell. That's who meets to select the music, and I agree with you. They always introduce me to things I've never heard, either settings of songs I've never heard or songs themselves that I've never heard. So I know this song from other settings, but I didn't know this one, and I really like it. Here comes. Let's see how we do.
The angel Gabriel from heaven came, with wings as drifting snow, with eyes as flame. All hail, said he, O holy maiden Mary, most highly favored lady. Gloria, 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 Gloria. How blessed of God the women you shall be, whom every age will praise continually. Your son shall be Emmanuel.
2, 3.
Then gentle Betty peeped about her head. To me be as it pleases God, she said. My soul shall laud and magnify God's holy name. Most highly favored lady, Gloria. Of her Emmanuel the Christ was born. In Bethlehem, O Lord, a Christmas morn. And Christian folk throughout the world will ever say, most highly favored lady, has Mary favored Gloria, Gloria,
And so on. How are we doing on this one? Full of challenges. What a glorious piece of music and such a beautiful setting. Any tricky spots you want to go over? Isolate, slow down, sing again.
Paul,
Yes.
if you wouldn't mind, could we maybe take it from measure 74 to the end? There are a lot of, the counting and the rests and stuff are a little tricky.
I'm sorry, 74?
Yeah,
I don't have
74. No, 47. I'm looking at the tempo marking. It's on page 8.
You bet. So I'm going to park it at 45 just for the sake of getting into it. And we'll run this a few times here. Here's 45. Let me see if I'm at the right place.
most highly favored lady.
Here comes again. Dave Perlman is saying, has anyone accidentally sung Most Highly Flavored Lady? Most highly flavored lady. Here we go, 45.
Most highly favored lady has met.
So is it Barbara, is it the timing of it or your note or both? What part do you sing?
I'm tenor. It's more the timing of it, and I think I'm getting that. I tend to forget to go immediately into measure 48 from 47. I'm always putting a rest in there.
Well, there is a breath, so you're going to say, ever say, most highly favored lady. So it also depends a little bit on how your conductor is going to show you that or count that, but here's how I think of it. Ever say, most highly favored lady. So the beginning of that measure is slowing down. Ever say, most high, and then it's kind of beat 3. I think of beat 3 and 4 as being in the next tempo so that it's easy to count. Now, your conductor might retard the whole measure and then suddenly make a change at 47. But here's how I would do it. I would give you the tempo 1 beat ahead of time. Ever say, most highly favored lady. So you kind of get you get 2 beats to wind up to the faster tempo. Does that help at all?
Yeah, thank you.
It seems like maybe that would be an important part to watch, be watching the director to make sure that who brings us in, I guess.
Yeah, so each conductor is going to show you that and count that differently, and I don't exactly know how your person is doing it. I'm always just thinking of how can I make it clear.
I have difficulties on page 6 the rests, the
Yeah.
counting. Each one of those
What part are you singing?
systems. Yeah.
What part are you?
Soprano.
Yeah, that counter melody for sopranos and altos is super tricky. Let's go through it just speaking, and I'll show you kind of how I make sense of it and see if it's helpful at all. So starting sopranos and altos, last measure, bottom of 5. The other thing that makes it tricky is that some measures have 3 beats and some measures have 4 beats. And you're singing on all the weird parts of the measure. You're not singing kind of in the normal parts of the measure. So here's how I think of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Magnificat anima mea dominum. 1, 2, 3. Magnificat. So when I get to dominum, the thing I think after dominum is 1, 2, 3. Dominum, 1, 2, off. Magnificat anima mea, 1, 2, off, off. Anima mea dominum, 1, 2. So let me give you just the counting that I do in the rests or the long notes and see if that helps. So measure 31, the long note num, I think of that as 1, 2, off. Then the next long note in 33, I think of that as 1, 2, off, 4, because that's a 4/4 measure. Anima mea, 1, 2, off, 4. Anima mea dominum, 1, 2, ma. So 35, I think of the rests as 1, 2. Let me play the track. Let me go back here. This is tricky, for sure. Let me see if I'm in the right place. One. 1, 2, off. 1, 2, off, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, off. Thank you for your note, Barbara. Okay, let's go back and do that again. Does that help with me counting the parts in between? Of course, you have to be counting while you're singing, but 1, 2, ready, and go. 1, 2, off. 1, 2, off, 4. 1, 2, and then the rest of it's easy. Does that help to think of it that way? Now let's put the tenors and basses back in to muddy the waters, or to make it harder to kind of hear our beat, and I'll still do the counting. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go.
Then gentle Mary bowed her head to
1, 2, off. 1, 2, off, 4. 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, off. Did that help at all? I really have to count in that section because of all the, it's some weird rhythms, and it's singing in strange parts of the measure, and then the 9/8 plus 12/8. It's tricky.
Paul, can you please do the tenor line separately in that same place and counting?
You bet. So tenors and basses are together. So let's do tenors and basses together. Let me mute the sopranos and altos. Here comes. 2, 3, and 1, 2, ready, go.
Then gentle Mary meekly bowed
Actually, I'll count over the top of it. See if this helps. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think the trickiest part of this melody is the first half of each phrase that goes back and forth between 9/8 and 12/8. That's not exactly intuitive for most folks. 9/8, I mean, we don't see a lot of things in 9/8. 12/8 is more common, but then going back and forth, it provides a little bit of a challenge. Did that help at all with me counting while
It definitely helped, and it's putting the soprano line on it that, you know, you just have to really focus on my own line and listen at the same time to the
Sure.
soprano.
For sure. Full of tricky spots. Okay, doke. Anything else on this one? Do you want to run it again or you want to move on to another song?
Let's run it again.
We shall. I find it haunting in the most beautiful way. Here it comes. Let me turn that up. Oh, 1, 2, ready, sing.
The angel Gabriel from heaven came,
with wings as drifted snow, with eyes as flame.
all hail, said he, O lowly maiden Mary, most highly favored lady, glory, gloria, 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 gloria,
How blessed are all the women you shall be, whom every age will praise continue. Your son shall be Emmanuel, my Savior's foretold, most highly favored lady, Gloria.
A 1, 2, ready, go.
then gentle Mary bowed her head, to
1,
me
2,
as it
3.
pleases God, she said, my soul shall laud and magnify God's holy name, most highly favored lady, Gloria.
3, 4.
Of her Emmanuel the Christ was born in Bethlehem, O Lord, a Christmas morn, and Christian folk throughout the world will ever say, most highly favored lady, most highly favored Gloria, Gloria,
Hey Barbara, I was gonna do that section again and try to show you in a way that makes it obvious. I'm gonna park it at 45, and I'm gonna try to conduct it in a way that's obvious, the transition back into the faster tempo. Here's 45.
most highly favored lady.
is that clear? Okay. Any other thoughts on this one? Requests? Magnificent. Hanukkah, Nagila. So the trick with this one is the clap is, I mean, there's some vocal challenges and musical challenges, but the clapping is tricky. We're finding it a little bit tricky in Arlington Heights. I think we're going to get there, but it's just a combination of adding one more thing besides notes and rhythms and page turns and all that is clapping. So let's go, please. Let's start where the clapping starts, which is measure 59. It's the last measure of 6. Here we go. Just that much again. So it's all clapping on beat 2. Da, clap, 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 except in 2 spots where we go clap, clap, clap. Those spots being 66 and 74. Here it comes again, same place. So now let's do the section that starts at 75. So this one is time to clap, clap, clap. Time to clap, clap, clap. Da ba da ba beep ba 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 da da. Time to clap, clap, clap. Time to clap, clap, clap. That's the tenor and bass line that I'm singing. So let's roll into 75. This section is a little different. Sorry, I keep doing the wrong thing. Here's 2 before 75. No, it's not. Here's 2 before 75. Sorry about that. Time to dance, time to sing, celebrate the miracle comes cities belong. Time to dance, time to sing, join us in our festive song. Good. Now let's go from 59 through there. So these 2 sections have different clapping patterns. But let's do them back to back. Here's rolling into 59. I'm at bottom of 6. Here we go. Good. So starting at 10, top of 10, the last 2 measures, ooh, clap, roo, clap, ooh, clap, ah, clap. And then after that is clapping on all the beats. But for 4 measures, we clap on the offbeat. Uru, uru, achim, uru, achim, ba-da-ba-ba-da. Or for the tenors and basses, join our celebration, die, and so on. And we stay clapping on every beat until the very last beat of the song. Page 12 at the bottom, we're going to clap and stomp and say, hey. And puffs of smoke will come out of our ears due to extensive processing. At the very end, on the hey, just slightly purple smoke coming out. Let's go back to Uru. Where's that? Top of 10. Here's rolling into, what measure is that? 91. This is, I'll roll it 2 before 91 so we get the feel of this. Here we go.
Song, join us, celebration.
So the last beat is hey, stomp, and clap. Now, let's go back to 59 and see if we can put all this together. This is something you can practice on your own. It could be like a drinking game. Every time you clap in the wrong place, you have to take a shot. I've been telling my choir, if you're not sure, come concert time, we've still got a few weeks, but come concert time, if you're not sure about whether to clap on any certain measure, just don't. That's the logic, right? Because you'll be more likely not to be the only one clapping. Here's 2 before 59. Here we go. Okay, 11:30. The time just flew by on account of silly stories.